Hey, now what's going on, everyone? Thank you very much for hanging out with us here at Zippo Encore Live with me, Jose Mangin, the Metal Ambassador. And I'm over here at quarantine in my home in Costa Mesa, California. And I have a very special guest, dear friend of mine from Richmond, Mother effing Virginia's Lamb of God, and awesome guitar player, our friend Mark Morton. Welcome, brother.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you? Good to be
Good.
with you, man.
Dude, I love that you had some time to come hang with us, brother. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I'm glad we got it all worked out. So, where are you at right now? Are you in Virginia?
I am. I am at my home outside of Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, talking to you.
Dude, I know that you've been active doing stuff with your family. I see you all the time on Twitter, doing a lot of cool stuff on there. How are you guys doing, man? I know you're grateful for so many things, Mark, and I know that your girl and your daughter are keeping you uplifted during these crazy ass times. What are you doing out there in Virginia to keep sane, Mark?
Oh man, we're trying to get outside every day. My girlfriend has a beehive that she maintains. She's a beekeeper, so
That's right. I saw
yeah.
that on your social media.
So I'm hearing all about. I won't go near it, but I'm hearing about all that stuff. And my daughter's with me quite a bit. She's with us quite a bit here. So we have a beautiful park next door. We go for long walks over there. I've been working on a little bit of music, and just kind of catching up on stuff around the house. Just trying to make like positive use of the time.
Hey, Mark, let me ask you, what do you mean you don't, your girl hasn't hooked you up with your own custom beehive suits? I mean, those are pretty cool, man. You want to put one on one of these days.
Yeah,
And
she tried to get me involved in that, and I was like, nah, that is 100% your thing. I don't want anything to do with that.
dude, but if you wear protective gear, what are they gonna do to you, man? You're fine.
You have a standing offer to come over and be the beekeeper's apprentice anytime you like.
Oh, dude, I would love that. Have you seen the movie Bees?
I haven't. No.
Oh, dude, I mean, I think there'd be like required viewing in your house, man.
I told you it's not my thing, man.
Dude, but it is a pretty cool movie because bees, I mean, they do everything, right? I mean, your girl's told you about how much bees do for the world, right?
It's nuts. Yeah. They're really important for like, the I guess the world, like agriculture and like the, everything we have, plants growing and all the pollinate and everything. But they also have these like weird, like little jobs and relationships and very like distinct purposes for what each type of bee does. It's a whole thing, man.
Dude, you got to watch Bees, man. Watch it this weekend. Come on, dude. It'll be a great thing to do with your girls watching Bees. It's all the stuff you just said, dude. It's all in that movie right there, man. Hey, and
that'll be a big hit around here for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. And what about I know you go outside and like you're impressing me on socials with your knowledge of like tree names and plant names and stuff. Like I don't know any of that stuff. Like oh, look at this tree, this blank tree blossom.
Yeah, the dogwood tree. Yeah, I was telling you, like I go to this park, this beautiful park next to my property, just acres and acres and trails and frisbee golf courses and there's this kind of trail that goes through this really like dense swamp, and there's like dogwood trees growing up out of the swamp like nearby. It's cool, man.
Hey, were you a Boy Scout, Mark?
I went to a Cub Scout meeting, and it was like all the kids from school that like kind of I didn't fit in with or whatever. Like they kind of picked on me or whatever. So I was like, I'm not going here.
Did you have long hair at that time?
No.
Did you have a beard? Did you have a beard at the Cub Scout meeting?
I look pretty much the same as I do now.
Hey, dude, I had a mustache when I was in 6th grade, bro. I was a hairy Mexican, bro.
But my daughter's a Girl Scout, so I actually go to lots of Girl Scouts.
Oh, dude, what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie, Mark?
Anything with peanut butter, man. Anything.
Oh, so you're a peanut butter dude. Do you actually eat peanut butter like from the jar and stuff? And are you a big peanut butter guy?
Peanut butter sandwich, yeah, it's like the perfect food, man.
Oh, I love peanut butter, dude. You know what? My family, dude. I'm gonna leave these chicks. They don't believe in peanut butter. None of my daughters, my wife, we never eat peanut butter, dude. And no one's allergic. What's wrong? What's wrong with these kids? Ava, what's wrong, dude?
You gotta fix that, man. Yeah.
I'm not gonna feed them for a while until they start eating peanut butter. Eh, Hey, is your daughter showing tendencies of being a metalhead?
No, in fact, she doesn't. She told me sort of sheepishly, like, "Dad, I don't really like heavy metal." But she's 9, so um, I did. There's guitars all over the house, and she wasn't don't really gravitate towards them at all. But it's a little early yet, I think.
You got to keep trying, man. Well, I failed with my daughters, my quarantine daughters. Man, they're 16 and 14, and I don't know, man. I mean, they have good musical taste, but it's not forged in metal, and it
Yeah.
makes me upset, Mark. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I tried too hard. That's what I think. That's what I probably did.
As
Do you know
long
what
as
I'm saying?
as long as they love music, man, you put that in them for sure. I'm sure you did.
Oh,
I'm sure you did.
yeah, no, for sure, man. We equally love Selena. That's who we can all
Oh,
agree
cool.
on.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Selena's a badass, dude.
Yeah.
So, what other extracurricular activities, Mark, before we start talking about music, are you doing here during these quarantine times? Are you watching like any like binge watching TV stuff? And I know you're a big sports guy, but I mean, there's not a lot going
Yeah, there's
on right now.
not a lot of sports going on. Live PD in first 48. There's a lot of that going on at night.
Oh, I
Um,
see. You've tweeted about that a bunch before. Now I remember.
I very recently, I kind of like, and maybe somebody that maybe you or some of the people listening can relate. Just like the last few weeks, kind of slowly, I've had this sort of anxiety come over me, and it's not been over like one specific thing. It's just like kind of this sort of level of anxiety raising in me slowly, and I just kind of feel tense. So, my girlfriend pretty much like last week more or less insisted that I do yoga with her because she does yoga a lot, and so I did, and I really like it, man. I really like it.
That's so cool. So, Mark Moore, you're turning over the new yoga leaf during these quarantine times.
I'm dipping my toe in the water. We'll see. We'll see. And
Did
I thought I'd share that visual with you so you can
I
imagine.
do? I have to ask. Were you wearing tights?
Basketball shorts and a t-shirt.
Oh, there you go, man. Dude, I went to one of those hot yoga classes only one time in my life, and it was with Melissa. She used to do that stuff, dude. I was gonna throw up, dude. It
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
awful, and
I'm
everybody smelled too. Everybody, like the dudes, the chicks, like everybody smelled like kind of bad, And I mean,
yeah.
the chicks in tights were cool, but other than that, I don't know, man. That hot yoga, it's hard. It's hard.
If it sticks, if I continue to do this, I think I'm going to stick with room temperature yoga for a while. Probably
There,
better for everybody.
no, I agree. I agree. Hanging out here with Mark Morton, dear friend from Lamb of God, excellent, talented guitar player. I want to talk about new Lamb of God, but we'll get to that. I want to talk about some stuff that you did over the last 18 plus months, putting out your own music, man. You put out a fantastic album last year called Anesthetic with so many guest appearances: Chester Bennington, Miles Kennedy, Randy, and Elisa. So many others are on there. It's a really, really good album. I've listened to it. I find myself after a year after it's come out, I think I've listened to it more now, Mark.
Oh yeah.
A year later. Do you find fans like just finding out that you put out this album that has all these amazing talented vocalist musicians? It's kind of like a Carlos Santana, Ultimate Santana, but the Ultimate
Yeah.
Morton album.
Yeah, man, and thanks for asking me about it. It's I do find people still discovering it, and that's really cool. And I think I'm so proud of that album, and it was such a joy to make. I built so many relationships with just some incredibly talented artists, and working on that song. I always say this is truth, like it's a solo album in the sense that I was sort of like the creative director and my name's on it, but it was so collaborative, man, and the joy of it for me was working on this songs with such talented people and building those friendships. And I mean, I got to work with Chester. That was incredible. Did some touring for the album, which is cool. And it's I get to be a fan of that album because there's so many different artists on it that I'm just a fan of. Where I have a little bit of a different relationship with it than I do like a Lamb of God album. Lamb of God's my band. It's been my band for whatever it is now, 25 years or something like that. Not my band, like I own it, but I'm in the band. It's like the band. But with the Anesthetic thing and the Ether EP that I did earlier this year, I get to be a fan of those songs because I'm a fan of Mark Lanigan. I'm a fan of Chester Bennington. I'm a fan of Miles Kennedy, and I'm a fan of Chuck Billy and Mike Inez and Steve Gorman and all these, just great musicians that I got to work with.
And I want to bring up something really cool that we talked about when we did our big Sirius XM special for your 5-song EP Ether that came out this past January. The bug maybe for this perhaps started when we did the acoustic session at the Download UK Fest. We did a Zippo's session acoustic jam, and I remember talking to you. You were really nervous about doing this performance with Jason from Fever 333 did a Marvin Gaye song with you. You had friends from your band Lamb of God watching in the audience, 100 strangers that were just there saying, what is Mark from Lamb of God doing? What is this? And I remember talking to you before and after. So the stress that you had, and then afterwards the relief and how much fun you had when you did that.
I mean, that's all part of the same experience, really. Like that stress, anxiety, like build up, anticipation, really. And then when it goes off, and like everyone had a great time, and the fans loved it, and we sounded great, and like, oh, we did it. That's like, to me, that's all. That's the whole package, start to finish. And it also spawned. It spawned the EP, the Ether EP. Spawned. I did a tour, a solo acoustic tour of England. All sort of jump starting from that Zippo thing. So, man, cheers to that. But I really get more nerves in those situations in a smaller room with like the acoustic guitars, and it's just more close up, it's more intimate. Like, I'm so used to the Lamb thing, which I love and adore, but I can play in front of 100,000 people at Download Festival in the UK, and I'm just like, let's go, let's do this, we got this. And then you put me in front of 150 people with a couple of acoustic guitars in a club, and I'm like, I hope I don't screw up. Something about it feels more I don't know. I think it's just a fresh kind of scene for me to be in that environment, and that's exciting for me. And I'm just grateful to get all these opportunities, man. To this far into my career, to still be kind of breaking new ground and working with new people and new different contexts. It's awesome.
I love it, man. Yeah, the new 5-song EP that Mark and I are talking about, it's called Ether. It's out there now. It came out in January. Guest vocals. We got our boy Nick from Moontooth. Lizzie Hale is doing a Black Crow song, She Talks to Angels. We got our boy Mark from Sons of Texas doing Pearl Jam's Black with you. Howard Jones doing an original with you. And there was another one with Mark from Sons of Texas. So yeah, excellent job, man. I was listening to the EP last night, and really, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, I've been, and not just because I knew I was talking to you, I listened to this stuff, and I was playing it for some, my wife Melissa, and she was like, oh man, this is really good. And I was like, I told you, man, Mark's got a lot of stuff going on. So is there any other stuff in the works, Mark? You said earlier during these quarantine times, wisely using this time to maybe work on some new solo Mark Morton stuff?
Just work on stuff, Jose. I just like, it's interesting in a time like this because there's a new Lamb record in the can, you know what I mean? And then, I just released not only Anesthetic. When did that come out? In like March?
Last January.
The album, I think, released in March, but the Chester song was January, and then Ether was this January. So like you're saying, within the last 15, 16 months, I've released 2 solo releases. There's a new Lamb record that's done. So I don't have anything to like spot write for. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to write for a specific project. So now I can just write. And that's a kind of a cool, liberating place to be. Again, trying to spin something positive out of like tours being canceled and that kind of stuff. So I can just sort of like, if you've ever taken like a creative writing class where you just kind of free form, like whatever spills out of your brain, I can do that musically and then just kind of see what's what as it lays out. Sometimes I write for other people kind of behind the scenes, like, and then sometimes like I'm writing for Lamb, sometimes I'm doing solo stuff. So I can just sort of spill all this stuff out and see what comes up.
I love it. I saw something that our friend, and I know you love her, I love her too, Lizzie Hale, was writing on Twitter. I think it was just today or yesterday about how, musicians, she was just kind of giving advice like create, use this time to keep creating, whether it's good or bad. Just keep creating, keep doing something, because from that will come something. You know, you don't have to wait to be inspired by something. Just continue to create. And I know Jerry Seinfeld did stuff like that every day, where he had to write new jokes, and even if they were bad, he still did that. And it sounds like you're doing the same thing with music. I'm not saying you're writing bad shit, but
Oh,
you know what I mean.
I write plenty. I tell people all the time, like, um, everyone's like, "How do you write such great riffs?" I'm like, "Because I only let you hear the good ones." You know what I mean? Like, plenty of garbage. But I think too, like, I was actually talking about it. I talked about this with a couple of different people, but I think in the next maybe like a year from now or 18 months from now, there's just going to be this flood of visual art, music, theater,
Babies.
theater babies, of all this like divorces, of all this like creative stuff that's come out of this time that people have, because there really are a lot of people. I don't know, man. I hate the reason, but I think there's something about this, hopefully, that we can sort of reprioritize things a little bit. Maybe it's the universe telling everybody, like, yo, pump the brakes. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think
Getting a
that I
little.
see a lot of karmic stuff out there, and I believe that as well, man. I want to talk about Mark again. Just thank you for hanging out with us here. The new Lamb of God album, massive. It's number 8 overall for you guys. 10 if you count the 2 Burn the Priest albums, and it's coming out May 8th. And yeah, it's a big time album. Guest appearances, Jamie Jost is on there. It seems like you must love Chuck Billy. You did a song with him on your solo album last year, and now Chuck is on a new Lamb of God song, which is pretty darn cool. I love that, and a lot of great songs. Checkmate, and of course we're jamming Memento Mori, pretty heavy and hard on Sirius XM Liquid Metal. You're putting it out during the pandemic. I know when you guys came up with the release date, you were like, "Yeah, let's do it then."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, nobody saw this thing coming. We're so proud of this album, man. I can't wait for everybody to hear it. I think that creatively, we've really hit a stride where we still feel really inspired. We feel a lot of momentum creatively. I think we've sort of found this space where we're confident in a way that maybe it took us a while to get here. We feel like we belong where we are. We're a veteran band now. We're all in our, mid, late 40s. So, we've been doing this a long time, but we've kind of reached, I think personally, like individually as a group, the dynamic between us all, the vibe in the band, the music we're making, it's all kind of at a really comfortable, cool, motivated, exciting space for us right now.
Yeah, dude. I was fortunate to be in the studio of your producer and dear friend of ours, Josh Wilbur, a few months ago, and it was cool to hang out. And your boy Randy was there as well. And I was listening to the album sitting in Josh's producer chair, which is a pretty sweet spot to listen to these Lamb of God songs. And yeah,
Spot.
man,
Yeah.
it's the really cool spot to
spot,
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like not fair to listen to music when it's not in that sweet spot, you know?
That's like being on a plane and being in the pilot seat. Like that's
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a little different to go back to coach after that. But yeah, dude, you guys just sounded like the creativity was on fire. I know you and Willie coming together with those riffs. I mean, Lamb of God. I think of the band. I think of guitars. I think of riffs. I think of what you guys are doing back and forth, and it sounds really cool on this album, Mark.
Thanks, man. We're super proud of it. I can't wait for everybody to hear it. As always, thanks for all the support you always give us, and all my projects, man. You always got my back. We always laugh about this, and you're always like, whatever you do, man, I got you. But you really always do, man. I appreciate it.
Dude, I would play an album of you baking. You know what I'm saying? Like Mark Morton baking banana bread. Dude, I would play that album, dude. It would be it would be big. It would be on our Devil's Dozen countdown for sure.
Don't tempt me, man.
No, dude, but and of course, and having the new drummer Art Cruz add a different level to the band. That was another thing that stood out when I was listening in the studio there with Randy and Josh. I was like, man, Art's like really like popping on this new Lamb of God album.
Well, yeah, that's why he got the gig. It's not because of the card tricks. He's actually a hell of a drummer.
It's not because he's Mexican, dude. Come
Yeah,
on.
I mean, yeah, that helped a little bit, but um, no, art brings this just such a great energy to not only to the well, first and foremost to the music, but also just to kind of the dynamic of the group. He's about 15 years younger than us, so that's kind of got its own energy, and just his drumming ability is pretty much limitless. He can play whatever you ask him to. He can play more or less whatever he wants, and that's pretty exciting to be able to have that tool available to us. And just, I think, Art was certainly a professional drummer when he came in to the fold. But some of the things we're doing at the level we're doing them at, he's never really been necessarily in those positions before. So to see his enthusiasm for it, his excitement, his curiosity, his eyes and ears are open, and he's killing it. It's just it brings me a lot of joy. I love Art, man. I love the dude, and I'm really proud to have him in our band.
I love that, man. Hey, Mark, another related Lamb of God news. Just the other day, you guys put out a non-alcoholic Lamb of God beer.
Mhm.
Is it with Ghost Dog Brewery? Is that the
Brew Dog is the name of it.
Brewdog Brewery? Yeah. And as soon as I saw the press release from our mutual friend, I love her very much, Maria Ferrero, I clicked on the link, lambofgodbeer.com, I believe, and I ordered myself a 6-pack.
Good for
And I'm
you.
looking forward to tasting Lamb of God beer. I want to have it here so that when people come over later, when it's cool to come over again,
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Oh, you want a Lamb of God NA beer?" My dad used to drink near beer for my whole life that my dad was alive. He would drink the old school near beer, NEER beer, and it was like so cheap and so bad. But that was the non-alcoholic beer that my dad drank the whole time that I was around, man, or he was around. So I'm glad that you guys are doing this. It's different. Most bands put out an alcoholic beer, but I love it that you guys did something like this. And I know the reaction from people were just like, "What?"
That's been really fun to watch, man. Yeah, Randy and Willie in particular are big non-alcoholic beer drinkers, and they found some BrewDog stuff that they really liked on the non-alcoholic stuff, and created that partnership. And Randy was really involved with the actual beer. I'm an unsweetened iced tea guy myself, but
Oh shit! I have some iced tea right here
yeah,
too, bro.
nice.
Seriously.
But I was really involved in the artwork on the can, and that was a lot of fun to do. And it's a cool thing, man. And if one person doesn't drive home drunk because they were drinking our stuff than something else, then the whole thing's a win.
I love that, man. Nice job. I'm proud of you guys. If you want more information, you can visit lammagodbeer.com, and it was so easy to order. It ships to all the states internationally as well, too. I don't know. Maybe I'm making stuff up, but I know I ordered right away, and I can't wait to get that. Just anything, again, to support you guys. I'm always going to do that. And I want to just bring up before I let you go here. I know you guys were supposed to be on the SiriusXM Presents Metal Tour of the Year. You guys, Megadeth, In Flames, and Trivium, supposed to be starting off in Bristol, Virginia, June 12th, wrapping up in Reno in the middle of November. 55 shows, Mark. That's a lot of time to hopefully still get to do some of these shows. I
Yeah,
mean, we don't know what's happening now, but I know that's a really cool ass tour package.
such a cool tour, dream tour.
Yep.
Um, Starting, hour and a half up the road from the house. So it what's going on is bigger than our tour. It's bigger than music. It's affecting so many people, and we all, none of us know exactly what's going on. Just hoping for the best. Like you said, it's a lot of time for us, to if things have to get moved around for us to kind of shuffle the shells and figure it out. People a lot smarter than me are making those decisions. I'll go when they tell me to go, as long as it's safe for everybody. But I'm confident that one way or another, this tour is going to go at some point, and I can't wait till it does, man. I can't wait to be out playing again. I was texting all my dudes like in my band. I texted Campbell yesterday, Art today. I talk to Randy all the time. I was like, miss you guys, man. I want to, I talked to Willie yesterday. I was like, I just can't wait till we can get going, man.
Why don't you guys do like a non-alcoholic like Zoom party, like where you all get together like the Brady Bunch style, and it can be a Lamb of God logo in the middle, and it's all of you guys. You know what I'm saying? You haven't done like a cool virtual hang yet with your boys?
No.
Well, that'll happen. That'll happen, Mark, dude. Hey, dude. So, hey, Mark, is there anything do you want to share to the world right now? I know we're all dealing with this that's happening, but is there anything that you would like to share right now? You kind of have an open mic. A lot of people are watching this. Anything you want to say
Are
to
they?
your fans,
How many
Mark?
people are watching it? Do you know how many
Like,
people are watching?
my wife and my daughter, and that's.
Man, just everybody. I hope everybody stays well. Make something positive out of it, and this is an opportunity for us all to take a deep breath. And I'm saying this for myself too. In fact, mostly just take a deep breath and get the priorities back in order, and just be grateful for every. We got a lot. There's a lot of good stuff going on, man, and I don't know. This will change too. Everything changes, man. Nothing stays the
Hey,
same.
I mean, that's a song right there from some band.
It might be, man.
Hey, hey, Mark, dude. Again, I appreciate all of that you do for the music community, for Virginia, for all of us fans of your bands over the years, man. I hope you and your girls are safe and healthy out there in the RVA. Have you gone to Arby's? Yeah, I know you got Arby's that sells beer out there.
Arby's?
I'm just kidding. I was bringing it up because when I was hanging out with you guys in Richmond, when we did that interview special and documentary filming, I remember John Campbell was telling me about an Arby's that sold beer there, and I'm a big Arby's fan, so I was like, oh, I gotta go. It's like the Mecca, It's like,
I don't know anything about that, but I had a very different lifestyle, I think, back then, so I don't necessarily remember all that.
hey, do you remember jamming Ruin in the rehearsal spot?
I do remember that. I do remember that.
That was cool, man. I saw that video a couple of months back. I think I posted.
How long ago was that?
That was when we filmed for As the Palaces Burn documentary before all the stuff with Randy happened.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So, but yeah, dude, that was a really cool thing to be able to sing Ruin. I remember you were waiting for Randy to come back in to start rehearsing, and he was doing some phone interviews out in his STV, and you asked me, hey, do you know any Lamb of God songs lyrically? And I was like, fuck, I don't know what the hell Randy says. And I pulled out my cell phone and we did Ruin, and that was a special moment, dude. That gave me like a metal boner, you know what I'm saying, in a nice way.
That's cool. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that could happen for you.
We'll end on the chub note. I think that's a good place to end, man.
Solid.
Hey, all right, Mark Morton, dude. Thank you very much. Congratulations on the release of Ether and the upcoming release of Lamb of God self-titled album on May 8th, man. We got your back forever and forever, man. Mark Morton, thank you very much, brother.
Thank you, brother. Love you, Jose. Talk to you, man.
Love you too, Mark, man. Peace. Yeah. Awesome. There you go. Mark Morton from Lamb of God hanging out with us here, Zippo Live, doing it from our homes here. What else are we going to do during this time? But it was great to talk to Mark. I love that dude. And, every week here, I want to talk to a badass that's in our music, somebody that's doing something cool, maybe putting out a new album or just doing something positive out there. Next week, I've got a cool guest lined up. I think you're going to appreciate what we can do next week. It'll be a lot of fun, but we like to keep these as a surprise. We'll tell you next Thursday. We do these every Thursday live at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And don't forget to follow Mark on his social media platforms. He's very active on Twitter. I love seeing all this stuff on there, and on Instagram as well. And of course, you can always follow my dumbass. I try to be pretty active on there as well, at Jose Mangin. I'm also on Sirius XM, Octane and Liquid Metal, 12 hours a day. And I love doing all this great stuff with Zippo over the years. And of course, we're doing this because, next month we would have been at these great festivals that are happening with our friends DWP. But we're going to be doing those hopefully this fall. So we were like, what are we gonna do now? And so we were like, let's hang with some cool people. So that's what we're doing, and I love that, man. Mark was so cool. But seriously, check out the EP Ether. It's out there now. It came out in January. 5 songs. They're all more acoustic, and I love what the covers that he did on there. She Talks to Angels, Black Crows. That's like one of my favorite like non-metal jams in the world, and I love it that Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm sang on that song, and Mark from Sons of Texas, my Mexicano hermano, tearing it up on 2 songs on the Mark Morton EP. And then of course Lamb of God's new album. There's so many great songs on there. We're jamming out Memento Mori, which is one of my favorite standout tracks, and there's so many more to come. I can't wait for you to hear the one that they do with Jamie Josta, and also the one that they do with the Metal Chief Chuck Billy from Testament, man. So I really appreciate you watching all over the world. And here at Zippo, we got a cool new logo that we got going on. You can kind of see it at the bottom of the screen there. And we also got this awesome new collectible lighter that's coming out, and you can order it now on Zippo.com. It's like commemorating the new logo, and just check it out. There it is right there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to mine, man, too. But this is available now, Zippo.com. I feel like I can almost touch it right there. I know I could. I know Mark would appreciate one of those as well. So yeah, we're gonna have to hook up our guests with these really cool Zippos. But I love it. I love it that I have a pretty cool collection. One of these weeks, I'm still holding. To show off my Zippo collection to you. I got a pretty cool one going on after all these years, and I just want to also. I hope that you are safe and healthy, not just like physically, but here too. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing these videos here is to kind of keep you positive, uplifted, without any sort of substance or chemical, but just kind of just by naturally being positive and good and talking to these really cool musicians and artists that do a lot in our world. So that's why we're doing this here. I know, times are crazy. Tracy, I'm looking at a comment here. You're making this COVID quarantine so much more tolerable. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Oh, I love dude, Aaliyah, who's producing this. Jessica Lee, what's up? Thank you, Jose. Yeah, I know you. It's so cool that I recognize so many of these names that I've seen over the years, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I'm like, oh, I know you. I know you. And I love it when you come up to me at festivals and at concerts and you're like, hey, I'm this person from social media. I'm like, oh, duh, I know who you are. So again, appreciate you for doing that. Thanks again to Mark. I love Lamb of God. They are one of the top metal bands out there, one of the premier bands. If you think of metal bands that are active today, there's number one, Metallica, for sure. I would say the next biggest metal band would be Slipknot. They're massive, massive. And then who would I say would be in third place right now, if you ask me? I would say Lamb of God. I would say Lamb of God's like, they sort of in a lot of ways carried on what Pantera did for us in the 90s. And I guess it's another reason why I'm a big sucker for Lamb of God. I'm a huge Pantera fan as well. I'm an official cowboy from hell tattooed all over. So I love that. My daughter's starting cheer class in a little bit here, which is kind of crazy. My daughter's a cheerleader. Now she's doing virtual cheer lessons. Both my daughters are doing schooling now. We don't have to really homeschool because they're old freaking quarantines. They can do it themselves. So that's cool that's happening. And my wife and I are still working every day, being on the radio and having the program Liquid Metal and host on 2 radio stations, 12 hours every weekday. Like nothing really is changed as far as the workload. I think a lot of it is just trying to schedule the time to brush your teeth, take a shower and stuff like that. So sometimes we forget that fact, man. But I just want to say a big cheers. This is Ice-T in honor of my boy, and somebody's ringing the doorbell right now. I don't know who it is, but it ain't for me. Hey, Ava, can you get it? Anyways, this is Ice-T in honor of my friend Mark Morton. I don't know if somebody's really at the door. I think somebody is. All right, well, I think we're good. I love hanging out with you here. Zippo Encore live every Thursday. Thanks to my friends Aaliyah and Tracy and all the crew at Zippo for bringing this cool live event to you and being all with this all fancy chyrons and stuff like that. So, and again, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Someone knocking now? At Jose Mangin, all right? I'll see you later. Thank you very much for watching Zippo Encore Live. No! It's the cops! And I'll see you next time, all right? Thank you very much. Peace.